But that is probably the main difference, I think, is, you know, when I'm in a more intuitive state, or if I'm trying to kind of force a more kind of thought thinking state.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Also, what you were saying before as well about how sometimes things just seem to happen faster. And I think that might sometimes be because it's like you sow the seeds in autumn and then you harvest, you sow the seeds in spring and then you harvest in autumn. It's like some days I'll feel like nothing is being produced necessarily, but that's just because I'm kind of sowing the seeds, and then there'll be another day where suddenly it will kind of like bloom, or it will kind of like start growing above ground, you know. It's like it'll be kind of germinating under the soil for days, and then there'll be a day where it kind of poof, like pops up and starts growing over ground, and that's when you can actually see the growth or what's been happening. Whereas before it's been kind of, you've not been able to see it, but it's been happening. So I think that's also it. You know, there are days where there's just lots of work and nothing really gets finished, and then other days where there's not really a huge amount of work, but things feel finished, or things feel completed, and then it's like, oh look. So yeah, there's that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, that is an incredible metaphor. The part about some days you're planting seeds and some days you're harvesting, and sometimes we can plant seeds and then get mad that they're not coming up right away.
Yeah.
And then we forget to water them, and
yeah, we're impatient. Feel like there might be something wrong with them. Are you not? Why can't I see you yet?
Dig up the seeds, and then
just because we can't see it doesn't mean that it's not, there isn't something happening there.
That's, in a lot of ways, that's good to know.
Yeah.
It's almost like you see the system and you see how it works, and so it's not as big of a deal if nothing comes out right away, because you know that that's not how it necessarily works, that it takes time in the world of form for things to sprout and for things to grow. And that's kind of another slight differential, is that it takes time in the world of form, but that there's no time over in the spiritual, like in the world of the mind, in the world of the that's why we're like, do it, and then it's like it's done in here.
Yeah.
And we get into trouble when we try to apply the principles of one to the other.
Yeah. And things need to be nurtured so that they can appear so that we can see the results. So we can see results. There's that like nurturing period where, you know, they just need to keep watering and tending to it without necessarily the kind of forcing or expecting. And then with that patience and that kind of compassion, I suppose, start to see results. And then, so this is all happening underground and we can't see it. So we're pouring water and we're not seeing any results yet. But under here, there's so much happening that's important. This is the time for patience, for compassion, for nurturing, for trust. And then before we know it, we can see the results, but it takes time. It takes time.
It almost happens without us too.
Yeah.
Like we're doing things. Really, we're just creating the conditions. That's all we're doing, and I think we're trying to force ourselves in a lot of ways to grow the plants. And that's where a lot of the stress in our lives comes from, is because we're trying to, I gotta grow the plants, but the plants are gonna grow. We don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, creating the conditions. Well, that's healing. That's true healing. Is we create the conditions for health and well-being, and the body heals itself. The mind heals itself. So I suppose you can apply the same principle to ideas and to the growth of a being, like a plant or an idea or something. You know, if we create the conditions, and things grow. Yeah. And then by the time there's a beautiful flower, we're not really having to do anything at all. But it is a cycle as well. It's not like that flower lasts forever. The flower will wilt and return to seed. And then the process starts again. Patience, trust, compassion, nurture. Yeah. So I suppose it's about turning productivity, what society calls or how society defines productivity. It's about turning that on its head and saying, well, actually forcing ourselves to do things and sort of fighting for things, and having that as our kind of understanding of what productivity is actually counterproductive. Because it's when we surrender and slow down and have patience and trust that the best things happen.